this setup does not really utilize the space in a way that it really should. So here's some of the problems. The bowls need to be set on one side, and plates should actually go on the other side. So that would utilize better space. So a way to improve this layout would be, I'm going to leave these here because they have enough space for the water to get in and out. Now coming over here, I have some space here, so I can put a large plate here, and so when the water washes up, it will reach the front of this plate. Now, the best thing to do is go on with a smaller plate in between and then a larger plate. I'm going to do the same here. And then I'm going to just leave these here and go in. Now, in a minute we'll check on the utensils. The next thing is here I have the bowls. Now, what I'd like to do is I'd actually like to take, because these have not been pre-scrubbed, I'm going to need some space in between them. Had I pre-scrubbed them, I would be nestling them closer together because all they'd really need is a good hot rinse and soap. So right now, I'm going to take these out. And I always like to put my larger ones to the back. So you want to make sure that your first one is far enough back that it's going to get some spray from the sprayer to get inside the front of it. Then I go two back, and then another two back. So now this has a space here, so I can actually move this here. Now, if I was to put this bowl here with the plates, the problem is it would actually cover the bowl so that the water would not be able to reach up inside. So what I can do here is I can move this lid here over to the back, and then I can utilize this space and just put the bowl the opposite way so that it can get water inside. Now, if I'm going to put this on the side like this, I want to make sure that it's not sticking down too far so that it gets hit by the bar. But with this large lid, it doesn't stick down. Now, the next thing we want to check is the utensils. So I'm going to remove this here and push this back inside so we can get a better look at the utensils. When loading your utensils, a couple of things you want to make sure is when you have spoons, no matter how big or small they are, you don't want to have them sitting inside each other because water can't get in between the spaces. So it's a good idea, no matter what your size spoons are, that you invert one and then have the other come up. Also, make sure that the bottom is wide enough that it's not going to stick through the bottom of the holes, through the bottom holes of your utensil container. Now, this, I like to, when I wash these, I like to put one in each side, and that way they spread out and I know that they're going to get washed. With sharp knives, you always want to put them down, but also make sure that the points don't stick down in such a way that they don't allow the washer arms to move. You want to make sure that they stay up kind of high. So again, I'm going to check over. These can be up because they're not super sharp, but always put your sharp knives facing down or wash them by hand. So in here I'm going to check and make sure that there's nothing spooning. The same goes with forks. You don't want your forks to spoon in the same way. Sometimes you can just separate by putting your utensils something like that, and they keep them separate. It keeps them separate. So let's see what we've got going on here. This one looks kind of crowded, so we want to maybe put that there. Again, we're going to check. And then we have two knives that are kind of sticking close together, so let's move one here. Now, if you notice, I put it in and it's sticking out that way. That's not going to do. So these particular knives, I know that I have them in here, so I put them face up, but I'm very careful when I go to take them back out. And then, now, what you want to do is you want to place your utensil holder back in. And then, before you slide this back, if you look, we're going to take the washer arm, and you can see it spins. So, we're going to set it straight this way, slide our tray back, and now we can easily reach it, and we can spin it to make sure that it doesn't hit anything on the bottom. And now we know that the bottom is ready to go. Before you start to load your dishes, you have to look at the direction of the water in your dishwasher. In order to do that, you want to look at these arms that spray the water. And you can see here that this one is, this little hole is facing this way. So that means it sprays outward this way. The second one does the same thing. Okay, it's hard to see, but the second one does the same. Now this one, if you look from one side, it's actually pointing in that direction. So this will stream out this way, and the other one does the same thing. So when the bar comes around the other way, it's actually got everything flowing out this way. So as the bar spins around, each spot gets a different flow of water shooting out in a different direction. But most of the direction is outward, or this way or that way. So the same on the bottom. You can look, and basically both of the arms are the same on this dishwasher. Top racks are all different. It depends on your dishwasher. You may actually have a rack that has some special features that extend, or they move out one way or the other, but you just have to familiarize yourself with your actual washer and see which what features you have. So here we have some spatulas. I like to put them like this, and this makes sure that they stand straight up so that the water gets to both sides of them. So this section I know is going to be not very good for putting things flat. Now I know for a fact these can sit right here in this row, and they fit very well. I'll show you in a minute. So this knife I'm going to put on this opposite side and make sure that it sits straight up so that it gets water on both sides of the blades. I like to put my tall glasses to the center and the smaller mugs and cups to the end, because when this spins around, it's not going to flow as high, whereas here it'll get a higher stream up into the glass. So I'm going to put my biggest glasses, tallest glasses, to the center. Alright. And then my coffee cups will both go on the end. Now, the professionals say not to put your dishes like that, and the reason for that is because the dishwasher is set in such a way so that if you put it between the rungs, you notice this cup is kind of leaning this way. It's leaning this way so that when the jet of water coming out of this sprayer, which if you can see is aimed to go that way, when you put the cups in, they will sit in a way that get the most water flowing up into them. So we're going to put the smaller ones in the center again, and then I have a few more tall ones. Okay, I'm going to put that there. Now, let me show you these. These fit very well in these sections here. But when I have other stuff here, it can disrupt the flow of what I'm trying to do. So I always put these here, and they do pretty well unless they're really crusted on. These are my cat's wet food dishes. So if they're really crusted, I'll soak them out and go ahead and put them in after I've kind of scrubbed them up. You can also, I can also put them here, but for now I'm going to use this. These work really well over here. So, and as you start loading your dishwasher and using the actual dishes that you own, you will see different ways that are the best. But what you want to do is you want to make sure that whatever you're doing, you're putting your dishes in a way that the most water is going to splash up inside and around and get to them like they should. Now, even though nothing is probably sticking down, it's a good idea to spin this to make sure that nothing is disrupting this spinner here. Now, if you notice this here, what this is actually a tube, and inside the dishwasher is a little part that comes down. Underneath and outside the dishwasher is a tube that comes up, and it runs up the side and down, and it comes into the top of the dishwasher, and then it pours water into here. That's where the water comes from to spray out from this sprayer. So you never want to cover this up. For example, if you did that, the water would just be gushing around the cup. It wouldn't work. So if you have something covering this up, it will disrupt the flow of water going into this particular spinner. Another thing you want to watch out for is this little thing here. This is actually a sensor, and as the water fills up, it floats up higher and higher, and when it gets to a certain point, it knows to stop putting water into the dishwasher. It knows it's full enough. If this thing is broken, you could end up with too much water coming into your dishwasher, and you could end up with leaks. Now, if you put a piece of silverware or a dish or something like that that sticks down and keeps this from pushing up, the washer is going to think that there is less water in there and keep filling up. So you don't want to have anything disrupting this from coming up with the water flow. Make sure there's nothing stuck in here. There's nothing laying in the bottom that could float up or get underneath here and disrupt this from moving up and down.